Good morning. I'll open with a brief statement. Obviously, we made a coaching change yesterday. We let go of Coach Watson. We thank him for his efforts over the past 18 months or so. We named Jay Triano interim head coach. We thought it was time for a new voice, new direction. We think Coach Triano will make some strategic changes that will result in positive progress for our team, and we'll get back to a player development focus. And a basketball focus that I feel like has been lacking. I feel like there have been too many distractions lately and too many issues that weren't basketball related. So we'll get back to focusing on player development, focusing on having our young players improve, and putting in systems offensively and defensively that allow our guys to be successful on the floor.
What were those distractions?
Well, I think there was a lack of alignment organizationally from ownership, front office to the coaching staff. This is not we didn't make the change as a reaction or strictly based on the past 3 games. It was an evaluation of a year-and-a-half period. We had a number of meetings over the summer about some of the changes we would have liked to see in terms of style of play and player development and accountability and all those things that go into winning and helping players develop and improve. And unfortunately, we didn't see those changes. You guys obviously saw what happened the first 3 games, and we realize we're a young team, we're an inexperienced team, but at the same time, we expect a baseline level of organization, effort, strategy, all that, and I felt like we were falling short in those areas.
Ryan, having said that, there was a period last season when you shut down the team, basically sitting down 3 key players: Tyson Chandler, Eric Bledsoe, and Brandon Knight. How could any coach really develop a team and put together what you just talked about?
Well, it's a new season. I mean, that was in March.
Over the last year and a half.
Right. Right. No, that happened in March. We're in October. Our point differential has been obviously atrocious through the first 3 games. So it was a culmination of things, Bruce. It wasn't one incident or one specific thing or one specific decision. And look, we thank Coach Watson for his effort. This is a hard job. It's hard coaching in the NBA. It's really hard coaching kids. We just didn't see the progress we were hoping for, and obviously that translated to the court. And we decided it was time to make a change.
Right, but you guys have preached patience, both you and Robert, throughout this rebuilding process. So why do this so quickly this season?
Well, it was there was a lack of development. There was a lack of individual player improvement and growth. We thought, we realized kind of where we are as a franchise in terms of being young, being in the developmental stage. But at the same time, we expect to be competitive and for the guys to play hard and to be put in positions to be effective offensively and defensively. And we didn't feel like that was getting done.
So you're saying it's Earl's fault Marquis showed up out of shape?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
What's the status of Eric Bledsoe?
We sent him home.
Yes, he had
formally future. I mean, is it 1 game? Is he practicing tomorrow?
Well, we just met with Eric this morning. I met with him before shoot-around. Coach Triano and I met with him. You guys saw his tweet last night. I gave him a call last night and asked him about that tweet and, just to clarify what he meant by it. And he said he was at a hair salon. It wasn't about the Suns or anything related to the Suns. He said he was at a hair salon with this girl and he didn't want to be there anymore. So I don't believe that to be true. So we thought about it, talked about it with Robert and my staff and Coach Triano and his staff, and decided it's what's best for the organization. So he won't be with us, going forward.
Ryan, are you exploring a trade for Eric Bledsoe as we speak?
Well, we're getting a lot of calls, and I think I'll return some of those calls after I get done meeting with you guys.
What does Triano bring to your team? What are you excited for with him?
Coach Triano's a basketball guy, and we look forward to his player development focus. He's got a good offensive mind. Some of the things we wanted to emphasize going into the season were, ball movement, player movement, spacing, 3-point shooting. We haven't done great in a lot of those areas, to be honest with you. So we think and hope Jay will bring positive change in a lot of those areas.
Ryan, did any players come forward to either you or Robert saying a change that need to be made?
No.
How much of the responsibility for this situation do you bear?
A lot. I think we all do. I think Robert does. I think I do. You know, it reflects poorly on all of us, and we own that, and we take responsibility for that.
Do you feel like you would put Earl in a good position with your relationship with him? He had an awkward moment when you guys talked about sitting Eric or not sitting Eric, and he put that on you, and there were reports that you guys had a strained relationship. Can you talk about your working relationship with Earl down the last 6 months, let's say?
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, we're different people. I think he's a good man. He handled, you know, us letting him go yesterday really well, and I respect him for that. You know, I think we're just different people with different approaches, and that's what I mentioned earlier when I talked about the lack of alignment, and I think hence the change.
At what point did Mr. Sarver get involved?
I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, he's always involved. He's around. He's at the games. I talk to Robert every day, you know, usually multiple times a day.
Was it game 1? Was it game 2 where you guys started contemplating this, or?
Well, I mean, you know, most of you guys were here on opening night. You know, to be down 58 to the Trailblazers did not obviously get the season off to a good start. And then, you know, there were some things. I think it was just a day-to-day thing. We just evaluated every day and kept talking. And I know it's been a short period of time, but as the days went by, there were more and more things we were uncomfortable with. So, you know, we arrived at the conclusion, I guess, yesterday morning to make the change, and met with Coach Watson yesterday afternoon.
Right. Did Eric formally request a trade before the season began, or asked to be traded before the season began?
Yes.
You have said that going forward he will not be with you. Has Eric Bledsoe played his last game for you?
I don't know that yet. I think there's a chance he has.
What about Josh Jackson? Will you talk to him, or will we talk to him about his gestures Saturday night?
Yeah, the league has reached out to Josh about it, and I think he'll have more for you guys when you talk to him later on today.
Ryan,
has any other player expressed an interest in that?
No.
Ryan, one winning season since you've been aboard. Do you possibly feel that this is not turned around and quickly that you could be potentially looking for a job at the end of the year?
I don't worry about that. I worry about what's doing best for the organization. And, you know, the way I grew up, the culture I grew up in, you know, with the Boston Celtics, all that matters is championships and trying to position yourself for a championship. So, you know, people don't like our approach, my approach. I'm fine with that. I live with that. Try not to manage to the middle and just field a decent team every year. I know that's what some people do, and that's what's safer. But, you know, try to get this organization to a championship level. Obviously, we have a long way to go. We have a lot of young talent. We have a lot of flexibility going forward. But as far as my job or what's best for me, I don't worry about that. I worry about what's best for the organization.
Ryan, was this a decision you made and brought to Robert, or a decision the two of you made together?
It was a recommendation that I made and brought to Robert, and you know, he obviously agreed with it fairly quickly.
Your relationship with Earl had been strained, as you said, the last several months. Were you hoping that to get kind of a change in the first 3 games as opposed to letting him go in the summer?
No, I mean, you never hope to make a change. I mean, we're talking about, you know, people and you know, with kids and families and lives. You hope it goes well. But when it didn't go well, or when it doesn't go well, I think it sheds light on some of the issues and some of the disconnect. And you know, I mean, we didn't lose 3 games by 1 point, right? I mean, you guys have seen what happened the first 3 nights.
Did you think your offense and defense were too simplified? That was easy to guard you and also easy to attack you?
Yeah, I think with a young team, you have to build in layers and build in stages. So, you know, I don't want to criticize what our previous coaching staff was trying to do. All I know is what I've seen out here on the floor and you know, some of the results.
Were you concerned having Eric around the team? Is there a particular reason why you don't want him here?
Well, this is a reset. This is a turning of the page. You know, as we try to change the culture and build a foundation that's sustainable for long-term success. We didn't want him to be a distraction.
Jay will be the coach the rest of the season, no matter what?
Yes.
Okay.
Could you describe the mood of the team given all the news?
I thought we had a great shoot-around. I thought it was energetic. I thought it was about all the right things. I think, you know, you'll see a much better effort tonight.
With Eric, was the decision to send him home made before the conversation this morning, or did that come out of that conversation?
It was made before the conversation. The conversation was to let him know that he had been sent home.
Ryan, why wasn't Robert here also to answer these questions?
You know, he owns the team. He's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on. I think he has a banking meeting or a banking conference today per our conversation this morning.
But don't fans deserve to hear from him as well?
Well, I mean, you know, I'm the general manager of the team. I get paid a lot of money to sit here and get interrogated by you guys.
Ryan, what about a head coach moving forward? How do you go about evaluating for a new coach in the future?
Yeah, well, we hope it's Coach Triano. I mean, we made him the interim head coach. One of the reasons we made the change this early was to give Jay and his staff the best opportunity to put their systems in place, to make the changes they want to make, and to grow and develop over the next 6 months. We have 79 games left, excuse me. There's a lot of basketball left to be played, so that's one of the reasons we want to try to get out ahead of it and give Coach and his staff, and more than anything, our players an opportunity to be successful going forward.
He was a coach in Toronto when you were...
Could you describe how Eric received your news?
Yeah, it was just quiet. I mean, I don't think he was surprised by it, Bruce, given the tweet he put out last night. I don't know how we would have, been shocked by the outcome. So he just quiet, nodded, said okay, and then left.
Yeah, Jay was the coach in Toronto when you were at Boston, so you saw a lot of him. What were your impressions of him as a coach, or what specifically do you think he brings to the table?
Well, like I said earlier, I think he's got a great offensive mind. I think he really sees the game well. I think he's all about basketball, and he's got a player development focus. So I think he's also smart enough to kind of delegate in certain areas. I think you'll see Coach Tyrone Corbin, take on more responsibility than he's had in the past, especially on the defensive end of the floor. I think and hope that'll bring positive changes.
Have other assistant coaches been named, given the letting go of the others? Have you gotten new assistant coaches, or what does that stand?
Yeah, so we reconfigured our staff. Obviously, Jay Triano is the interim head coach. Tyrone Corbin will be our lead assistant. And then on the bench, we called up Ty Ellis from our D-League staff. Our Northern Arizona Sens head coach will be on the bench. He'll be joined by Marlon Garnett, who has done a lot of our player development. Marlon moves from behind the bench to in front of the bench. And then we'll also call up a few of the other guys on Coach Ellis' staff from NAZ. They were at training camp. They know our system, and they're pretty good, hungry young player development guys. Right?
So you saying it was your decision then? It was your decision to let go of Earl?
Well, it's the organization's decision. I mean, Robert owns the team. I make recommendations. This was my recommendation, and ultimately we made the decision together.
Ryan, how do you go about selling potential free agents that this is a good landing spot next summer when Eric Bledsoe says, I don't want to be here, and then Coach Watson gets blown out after 3 games, and then it seems like the image of this franchise is at an all-time low?
Well, that's your opinion. I mean, we'll see how it goes the rest of the way. I mean, free agency doesn't start on Halloween. We get some time to figure that out. So, we have to do better. That was part of the reason for the change. I think and hope you'll see improvement over the last 79 games. But we'll kind of cross that bridge on July 1 when we come to it.
How do you think